That's yeah, you try to punch things. Punch things. That's like they follow over.
He rocked up, champ. Yeah. He rocked up. I was like, oh snap. So yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. Tough fight for both.
All right. What y'all going on, champ? What y'all going with you? I'm going into the rematch, champ.
Like a champ, like I'm supposed to. I've been in the gym. I've been ready. Time to ramp it up, kick it in gear, and get right to work.
I'm gonna ask you a quick question about the fight.
Gervonta Davis looks set for a rematch with Lamont Roach. And if the words of his previous opponents mean anything, he's stepping into this fight with a lot at stake. Their first clash ended in a controversial majority draw, sparking backlash from boxing analysts, fighters, and fans alike. The main controversy stemmed from the 9th round, when Davis unexpectedly took a knee, claiming eye irritation. However, the referee didn't score as a knockdown, a decision that many argue cost Roach the victory. Had that moment been ruled correctly, the outcome on the judges' scorecards would likely have favored Roach.
On boxing.
Aficionado. So as an aficionado, then you know, like, if I'm the champ, you can't come in here and outpoint no champ. You're not about to outpoint him unless you just beat the living shit out of him. Right. You gotta take that. You gotta knock him down. You gotta knock him out. Like, it's the champ. You know what I'm saying? And they went in there and they both punching each other hard. Bah, 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 bah. But I feel like Tank did his thing a little more than him. But at the end of the day, like, you ain't took shit, bro. You just lasted.
That outcome hasn't sat well with anyone connected to it. Lamont Roach still firmly believes he was robbed of a deserved win that night. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis seems more frustrated by his own performance than the backlash that followed. For a fighter who has built his reputation on dominance and highlight reel finishes, walking away without a clear victory was a blow to his aura and changed how some fans and analysts view him. This rematch isn't just another title defense for Davis. It's a chance to set the record straight. He knows that the only way to silence critics is to leave no doubt this time. One fighter who's been watching closely is Mario Barrios. He knows better than most what Davis is capable of inside the ring. In June 2021, Barrios tasted defeat for the first time in his pro career when Davis stopped him in the 11th round with a vicious uppercut. Barrios had boxed well up to that moment, but was ultimately undone by Davis's trademark explosiveness. Recently, on Box Talking Bouts, Barrios shared a perspective on the controversial first fight and what could unfold when these two meet again.
You gotta play around, he trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is the person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's gonna win the fight, I don't know that, but Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand? You gotta understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from. Roach is a very formidable opponent. So I'm not gonna talk about none of that until we get down Roach, because what I'm telling you.
I thought Roach put up a really competitive fight, and it was controversial for a reason, Barrios said, especially with that moment that should have been scored a knockdown. I don't know what else you'd call that. But yeah, given the rematch, I think Tank will just pick up right where he left off. He continued, I still give the edge to Tank in a rematch, but that's not to take anything away from Roach. He's a damn good fighter, and he proved that in their first fight. I think he surprised a lot of people with how well he performed. The second fight should be very competitive too, but if I had to bet, I'd lean toward Tank.
Want to compete with Roach, but what did you think about that fight? Like, did you think it was competitive?
Yeah, I think it was competitive. I feel like with them having I feel like the relationship that they got or they had, you know, as far as coming up together and kind of knowing the same people, working with the same people, it kind of was more of the fight was more of like I feel like so Roach came out.
Barrios' perspective carries weight because he's experienced both sides of Davis. The parts that can be outboxed and the parts that can end a fight in an instant. What he saw against Roach wasn't the same relentless Davis who walked him down in 2021. Roach's movement, sharp accuracy, and smart timing gave Davis real problems in the first half of their fight, leaving him looking unsettled. Even before the eye irritation, Davis struggled to land cleanly. and often found himself reacting instead of dictating the action.
You know, he worked with other coaches, so, you know.
Yeah.
But I do know how the fight will be different. The rematch.
With a different strategy.
Yeah, I can't speak on it, but yeah. It's definitely going to be different. Way different.
See, you're smiling and you're excited about it, and you can tell that that's like a coaching thing. You know that a lot of the fans, they tend to.
The moment Davis took a knee shifted the entire fight's narrative. It wasn't score a knockdown, but it quickly became the main talking point afterward. Many fans argued it was a clear knockdown that should have swung the scorecards. Davis explained later that grease from Roach's hair had gotten into his eye, blurring his vision and forcing him to take the knee. But whatever the cause, that single moment gave Roach a surge of momentum. From then on, Davis didn't look like the explosive finisher people expect. He looked like a fighter just trying to make it to the final bell. The aftermath sparked endless debates among fans and analysts alike.
He's not there to play around, he's trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is the person who knows tank, who's been around tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side of you. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight. I don't know that. But Roach cannot be this underrated like you. You got to understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from. Roach is a very vulnerable opponent. So I'm not going to talk about none of that until we get down Roach. Because what I'm telling you...
Some pointed fingers at the referee, while others argued that Davis was simply lucky to escape with a draw. Roach himself didn't mince words. He publicly declared that he should have walked away with the belt that night. Since then, he's kept the same energy alive on social media, engaging with fans and critics, reposting breakdowns of the controversial 9th round, and making it clear he's been ready for a rematch since that very night. He shared training updates, behind-the-scenes footage, and quotes that hint he's not just looking to win on the cards this time. He's aiming to finish Davis for good.
I don't want people to get it misconstrued or whatever the case may be. He's a hell of a fighter. Hell of an IQ, great punching power, good speed, and a really good boxing ability. A lot of people underrate that. Don't think because of what I did, y'all think y'all can just go in there and think y'all can have the same night, you know what I'm saying, or do the same thing. He still will go upside your head and crack you, and you know what I'm saying, you might end up on the floor.
Davis hasn't stayed quiet either. He's fired back at Roach's posts, sometimes with sharp one-liners, other times with bold promises that Roach won't make it to the final bell this time. The bad blood hasn't faded. If anything, it's only grown worse. As the rematch approaches, their back and forth is likely to heat up even more. There's a lot at stake for Davis. His undefeated record remains intact, but the draw exposed vulnerabilities that hadn't been seriously questioned before.
Is trying to let the world know he's going to be a completely different fighter. And as you see here, he's posting his black Nike boots. Now, technically, we usually say when you have Nike Air Force Ones, the black ones, that means some sort of bad energy. You're going to bring it. It's a thugging thing. And he's showing the Nike boots and saying it's time. He's going underground.
For years, Davis has been one of the most feared punchers in boxing. Opponents respected his sharp timing, his knack for carrying power deep into fights, and the unpredictability of when he'd unleash it. But against Roach, he looked human. And in this sport, once a fighter shows they're human, future opponents gain confidence and approach them differently. That's the risk Davis now faces. If Roach can push him again and prove he can outbox him, other fighters will take note, and they'll look to follow that same blueprint.
Do you think he wins that rematch with Lamont Roach?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. It's a 50-50 fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know.
Does a lot of it hinge on Gervonta and like which version he shows up with? And no disrespect to Roach, but you know what I mean.
No, that is disrespectful to Roach, and like y'all fight fans gotta realize that is disrespectful.
For Roach, this rematch is a massive opportunity. He knows he was just one round or one correct call away from completely changing his career, and he's made that point repeatedly since March. The draw didn't hurt his stock, it elevated him. He proved he could go the distance with a champion and, in many eyes, outpoint him. That belief will fuel him in the rematch. How both fighters handle the early rounds will be telling. Roach will likely test Davis's timing and patience again, using angles and sharp counters to frustrate him just like before. Davis, on the other hand, can't afford to let Roach settle in. He needs to make a statement right away. Expect to see more urgency, constant pressure, and busier combinations as Davis looks to break Roach's rhythm before he can build any confidence.
Again, Roach, bro, like, I don't know if y'all watch boxing or if y'all casual fans.
Look, Kurt is a aficionado on boxing.
Aficionado. So as an aficionado, then you know, like, if I'm the champ, you can't come in here and outpoint no champ. You're not about to outpoint him unless you just beat the living shit out of him. Right. You gotta take that. You gotta knock him down. You gotta knock him out. Like, it's the champ. You know what I'm saying? And they went in there.
The pressure on Davis isn't just tactical, it's psychological. He's expected to win this fight. He's the star, the headliner, the name that sells tickets. Another shaky performance, even if he edges out a win, could damage his momentum and aura of invincibility. If Roach beats him or pushes him to another tight decision, the questions about Davis's ability to dominate at the elite level will only get louder. As Mario Barrios pointed out, Roach surprised a lot of people. He may not have the loudest name in the division or viral knockouts, but he's technically sharp, composed, and tough.
Davis and Roach too. How do you think this plays out?
You know, Davis is supposed to step up and show the level that he's on.
Right.
And I always say this about boxing. Boxing does itself a disservice by not promoting both sides. If you did a better job promoting Lamont Roach, people would have expected that fight to be what it ended up being. It was a good boxing match.
Right.
In a lot of ways entertaining for multiple reasons, but you know, I think if anything, we know that Lamont is on the road to Tank.
And after taking Davis's best shots back in March, Roach won't be stepping into this rematch with any fear. He'll come in with a sense of unfinished business. The rumored date for their second clash is August 16th. Nothing's official yet, but the timeline makes sense, and both camps are already deep into preparations. Roach's camp has been quieter this time, keeping things mostly behind the scenes. But sources say he's zeroing in on cardio, defensive timing, and movement, the very things that troubled Davis before. He knows Davis will look to push the pace harder this time, and he's planning to make him pay for every mistake.
You could say Tank won. There's no way.
Do you think that he's diminished in some way, or do you think that just mentally he just wasn't there for the fight?
Well, a little bit of both. You know, his age is catching up to him. You know, his legs aren't there as he used to be. And, you know, he switched his trainer, you know. That's could be another factor.
With Barry Hunter being the head trainer and Coach Calvin being outside.
Yeah, but he snapped at Calvin too, so that's, you know, there was something going on.
There's always a chance for adjustments. Davis's power remains his ultimate equalizer. He can flip a fight on its head in an instant if he finds the right opening. Roach knows it, and so does Mario Barrios, who learned that lesson the hard way. Barrios was boxing well, winning rounds, and then one uppercut from Davis ended everything. That threat is still very real. The big question is whether Roach's timing and rhythm can neutralize that power again. Fans want answers. Gervonta Davis still has plenty of believers as he heads into this rumored rematch with Lamont Roach. While Shakur Stevenson has previously weighed on how he thinks this fight could go, plenty of others around the boxing world, fighters, rivals, trainers, and promoters, have offered their own takes. 7 of them have either gone on record or made their predictions clear. Here's how they see it playing out.
Throwing his hands fast as hell. He's in the gym preparing. I think the rematch with Roach versus Gervonta can actually be more exciting than the first one. In my opinion, I've said this many times, the actual fight itself wasn't that crazy. The crazy thing is what you've never seen before, the knee. But as far as a boxing match, it was, if you look at the copy box, they didn't throw a lot of punches. It wasn't like, it wasn't really a great fight. But as far as the fight itself.
Teofimo Lopez, the current WBO champion at 140 pounds, doesn't hesitate when asked who he thinks wins this rematch. He respects Roach's skills, but speaks with a deeper admiration when it comes to Davis. Tank sets traps better than almost anybody. Lopez said in an interview last month, that power isn't just raw, he's smart with it. Roach is tough, but if he couldn't handle Tank once, what's different this time? For Teofimo, It's not just about Davis's knockout power. It's how he sets it up, the timing, the patience, the intelligence behind every punch. He's seen Davis lull opponents into a false sense of security, only to snap back with a perfectly timed counter. In his eyes, Roach will walk right into that again, no matter how solid his plan looks on.
That was saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it. It might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little wake-up call to take him back to the mindset of maybe where he was.
Chris Colbert, once a flashy contender at 130 and 135 pounds, has sparred with Tank and knows firsthand what Roach brings to the table. Colbert's view leans more toward respecting Roach's ability to adapt, but his prediction remains the same. Lamont's got skills, bro. Colbert told Mill City Boxing at a recent media event. He's sharp and knows how to stay composed, but Tank's timing is different. One mistake, and he's on you. Roach can last longer, but he's got to be perfect for 12 rounds. Colbert believes Roach might push Davis deeper into the fight than the first bout did, maybe even make him work harder, but in the end, he still sees Tank pulling away, whether it's with clean knockout or enough damage to seal the rounds convincingly. For Colbert, it all comes down to pressure. Roach might make adjustments, but Davis doesn't need to.
Today, Tank Davis said, Yaka had a crown, he don't want it. That scared me a little bit. I'm a big Tank fan. You know what I'm saying? That scared me a little bit. We got the fire in his stomach after what happened, but I'm going Tank. I believe he's the best at it. I wonder if he's still hungry though. You know what I'm saying? I'm going Tank.
Regis Prograis, who's coming off a loss to Devin Haney but remains one of the most dangerous names at 140, offered a more psychological take on the rematch. For him, it's not just about the physical side. It's about what happens when a fighter has already been cracked by someone's power. Tank's the kind of dude who waits and waits. Then boom, it's over. Prograis said on the Last Stand podcast. Roach is talented, but it's tough going in there knowing you got hit like that once. I see the same result. There's no bitterness in Prograis' voice, just an understanding of what real power does to a fighter's mind. It lingers. It changes your decisions in the heat of a round. For Regis, the memory of Tank's punch will echo louder in Roach's head than anything his corner tells him.
I think it's going to be it's going to be a chess match. So I think Tank going to come in. I think his footwork is a little bit better than Roach. I think his movement, stuff like that, is a little bit better. So I think, if he, get Roach out of his rhythm, kind of get him off balance, Tank going to get him out of there. Not saying Tank can't knock him out now. Don't get it twisted now just because he didn't knock the dude out or whatever. Don't think he can't. Like I said, I get Roach's problem.
Coming from a different angle, Isaac Cruz offered a more balanced perspective. Cruz, who gave Davis one of the toughest fights of his career, isn't one to blindly praise his former opponent. He believes in relentless pressure, durability, and making fights gritty, and he thinks Roach has enough tools to keep this rematch competitive for longer. Davis is a hard puzzle. Cruz said to a translator during fight week in Las Vegas. Roach is slick, but Tank will adjust again. Maybe Lamont boxes and survives longer, but Gervonta's power is still the difference. Cruz knows Roach can move well, stay calm under fire, and stick behind his jab. But he also experienced firsthand how Davis never panics, never rushes, and doesn't need to win every round to win the fight. Cruz predicts a longer, tougher fight this time, but he doesn't see the ending changing.
But, y'all can hear me? After I beat Tank, I'm fighting the winner of Devin Haney and Brian Norton. There you go. I'm not going to say it again. Y'all can clip it. Y'all can do whatever. That's what I'm doing. You heard it here first.
Devin Haney, who's often clashed with Davis over who's the top lightweight, still gives Tank the clear edge over Roach. Despite his past criticisms of Davis's matchmaking and discipline, Haney didn't downplay his abilities this time. Tank's explosive. Roach just ain't got the firepower. Haney said during a Twitter space session, he's good, but not great. Davis just needs to close that gap one time. Haney's point is straightforward. Roach might snag a few early rounds and even look sharp doing it, but the moment Davis gets into range and lands clean, everything changes. He's not calling it a total mismatch, Just a mismatch when it comes to firepower and finishing ability.
Not be surprised to think that Tank has been boxing and training at a high level for the last 3 months. While Roach has been out here just, I want to fight. So that's probably 3 months gone. And hopefully, Roach.
Gary Russell Jr., however, isn't following the crowd. Russell, who like Roach hails from the DMV area and has always supported fighters from that region, believes strongly in Lamont's growth. He's been vocal in defending Roach's performance even after that controversial first fight with Davis. "Y'all keep sleeping on Lamont," Russell told YSM Sports Media. "Tank's got power. Cool, but Roach has grown since that fight. If he makes it ugly and takes Tank to deep waters, anything can happen." Russell is the only one among this group backing Roach not just to survive, but to win outright. For him, it's not blind optimism. It's about the maturity he's seen in Roach since then. He believes that first fight taught Roach how to pace himself, how to recover under fire, and how to avoid falling into the same traps again. It's a long shot prediction, but Russell isn't treating it like a fantasy.
A lot of people wasn't really feeling that. Do you feel like he'll fight better this next fight?
I think so, for sure. And, you had mentioned that they've known each other since childhood.
Yeah.
So maybe that had something to do with that first fight. But now they've fought, they've gotten that experience out of the way. So I think we're going to see both of them a lot more.
Way better, yeah.
Roach should have won the first one. He got robbed because that should have been a knockdown. And the commission messed that up. But in the rematch, I like Tank in a good fight.
Finally, Leonard Ellaby, long tied to Mayweather Promotions and a key figure in Tank's rise, offered the most theatrical take of all. Even though Davis's business ties with Mayweather's camp have cooled, Ellaby has never wavered in his belief that Tank can finish anyone at any time. Tank puts on shows, Ellaby said during a recent post-fight scrum. He got Lamont out of there last time with ease, and he's even better now. These boys keep thinking they can outbox him until they wake up on the canvas. Ellaby isn't expecting a close fight or a drawn-out 12-round battle. He predicts a repeat of the first fight's fireworks, maybe even quicker this time. For him, the real mistake isn't just believing you can beat Tank with jab and good footwork. It's thinking you'll be safe long enough for that strategy to actually work.